Hi everyone, Comic Reviewer here, this time doing another Spidey-tember episode review. And this one is pretty much on Competition. Now, as you know, Competition is the 5th episode of the first season of the Spectacular Spider-Man TV series that was directed by Troy O'Donis as well as written by Kevin Hobbs. And the premise of the episode is meant to feature how due to series of defeats, we see how Flint Marko and Alex O'Hearn are recruited by Hammerhead to become their next plan in taking down Spider-Man. And we kind of see how Flint Marko ends up becoming Sandman and tries to make his big score. And at the same time, we do kind of see how there's an opening spot for the school football team, and we see how both Harry and Peter decide to go, and we see how Peter only decides to go along to keep Harry safe, and we also do kind of see how Peter seems like everything's going right for him, despite a few screw-ups. I would say the episode, serves a bit of a message and a moral. I think the message with Harry is about realising who your friends are, and that even though you might got the approval, it's not really going to be a real thing. As it's only kind of clear that Flash and his crew are only friends with Harry due to his success, as well as his status, and now it's been risen, that it's going to leech off him. We kind of see how Peter at first wants to kind of protect Harry, but we see how he kind of overdoes it. And this is where you can tell Peter kind of realises that he might be wrong for using his powers in a football game. And the message with Peter is obviously, if you have a power, don't use it at sports, as it might give you a disadvantage against other people. And I think the episode does work, in my opinion. I think my favourite moment is still when Peter imagines himself in his Spider-Man costume and kind of tackling the football field. I think this is kind of like a foreshadowing to Ultimate Spider-Man 3 or 4 years later. And I think it's also interesting how, we are still going to see potentially Mary Jane Watson, and this is much like the early Spider-Man comics, where it's kind of this running gag where MJ was going to be introduced with Aunt May from Peter, despite a few screw-ups. I think at the same time, in my opinion, is that the episode also does work, because you can kind of tell deep down Peter does want to do the right things, and does eventually learn them. And we also do kind of see how Harry thinks he'll get the approval from his parents and that, despite the fact that it was never gonna work. And we do kind of also see how Gwen is quick to forgive Peter, and probably realising why he took the shots. The difference between her and Eddie is over the series, we did see how Eddie slowly became the thing he hated. Well, Gwen was kind of meant to realise what was more important. And I think the episode still works. So I think, once again, episode 5 definitely deserves a thumbs up. Still good, and still alright. So, Comic Reviewer here, signing out.